Here we have a sample problem. What will be the predominant reaction if spilled drain cleaner, sodium hydroxide, is neutralized with vinegar, acetic acid? Are reactants or products favored? So we have two chemicals that we're starting off with here. We have NaOH and we have acetic acid, CH3COOH. Now we see that this is an ionic compound, our sodium hydroxide, and this is a weak acid. With an ionic compound, we're going to break it down into its cation and anion. So that's Na plus and OH minus. With a weak acid, we are going to leave them together. Because this is a solution too, because acids and bases have to be in solution, we need to include water as well. So these are the species that we are dealing with here. We have Na plus, OH minus, CH3COOH, and H2O. What we need to do then is we need to identify our acids and bases. Acetic acid we know is going to be an acid. And water is both an acid and a base. On top of that, we can also identify that hydroxide ions are on the base side. We don't have anything listed for the sodium ion because it is neutral. It is neither an acid nor a base. Then checking our table, of course, hydroxide ions are the strongest base possible. They are on the bottom right-hand side of the table. Going up the left-hand side, we see that the acetic acid is higher than the water. So acetic acid is going to be our strongest acid. That means that this reaction will be taking place between the hydroxide ion and the acetic acid. We do have that 1:1:1:1 ratio, so we don't need to worry about balancing it. It will be balanced already. We do know that this hydrogen ion is going to bump off into the hydroxide. So that means we're going to produce CH3COO minus and a water molecule. Important thing to note with this as well, if you are having trouble finding out what the conjugates could be, you can always check it on your conjugate acid-base table because these two are going to be listed beside each other and these two are going to be listed beside each other as well. Then for which reaction predominates, we have to see, is it oriented like this or is it oriented like this? Is the acid high or is the base high? Do not take those out of context. So what we see here is that our CH3COOH is above our OH minus. So that means products will be favored. If we wanted to include that as part of the reaction itself, what we could do is we could, over our arrow, which should be a double-headed arrow, we could say greater than 50%. You could either write it out or you could use mathematical symbols. So this is a greater than 50% reaction.